I will say, from a financial standpoint, a company that I admire greatly because they truly have figured out the art of selling the same thing over and over and over and over again is Bethesda.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I have bought Skyrim like 3 or 4 fucking times. Todd Howard gets me again. Damn it. Welcome, everyone, to another amazing episode, the best episode we have ever yet to record of the Real Profit, Real Perspective podcast. I was going to have Ryan do this introduction, but it turns out that shortly before filming, somebody decided to come down with the black lung.
That's what you get for working in the coal mines here.
Dude, I tell you that the worst part of doing inventory observations is when you get told, hey, we need you to go 5,000 feet underground and go count the piles of coal. No, workers' comp's not going to cover the cancer that you're going to get from it.
No, real life example though, I did have to scale an asphalt tower one time.
I remember you telling me about that. How high is you? Wasn't there, without naming names, how many health and safety codes did you break when you were doing that?
Oh my God, dude. Occupational safety hazards out there were real. And that was actually, I think, my first year on the job. So as an auditor, the unfortunate side effect of being a first year, and honestly, every year through my career, I had to do inventory counts. And that included, for one of our construction companies who paved a lot of roads, they had asphalt towers. And these are literal silos. This one was like literally 100 feet tall. I had to climb this little ladder that's attached to the silo with no safety equipment at all. I walked up to the job site and I told the I guess the supervisor who was there, I was like, hey, I'm here to do the inventory count for the audit firm. And he was like, who? Cool.
Sounds
go
about
climb
par
the
for the
ladder.
course every time we would have to do an inventory observation, which is, all right, you're going to meet so-and-so at 7 in the morning, and here's his phone number, and you're there to count some stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, well, what are we counting? See what's there when you get there.
just whatever they do.
Yeah, whatever they're doing. And you're like, okay, I'm here. No one else is here.
Yeah. Yeah. And once I got to the top of that tower, there's this little like manhole on top that I had to open because I had to stick a tape measure, a literal tape measure into the hole until it touched the asphalt so we could know the empty space in there. But unbeknownst to me, when you open the hole, a cloud of asphalt smoke and fumes burst you in the face. So I'm like 100 feet in the air on top of this stupid silo, disoriented because I just got blown in the face with asphalt smoke. And yeah, then you have to climb back down. That's the hard part.
Oh man, yeah, I'm pretty certain per OSHA you're supposed to be clipped in if you're like
Yeah.
climbing up that high. Usually you've got to have the restraints on so that you're off clipping and all that stuff. And I think there's
Oh, yeah.
probably a don't open up the hole that you could fall into without being tied in. Thank God that story didn't end with, and here's the news article of when you fell in and were turned into asphalt.
Luckily, the hole was not big enough to fall into. It was probably a foot wide. I mean, maybe you could, like, if you're tiny, you could probably squeeze in there.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That you always hear people complain at times about government regulation, and then I have to admit the more business owners that I've worked with, particularly when you get into stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
you start to see the firsthand reasons why we have health and safety codes in the first place. You're like, no, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I didn't even think anything of it until another inventory count where I had to go on a forklift, and it was like a platform, and we had to watch a whole training video before we went into this thing. We put a safety harness on, got clipped on, and it was like a multiple point restraint. And I was like, wow, I probably should have had something like this when I climbed that asphalt
Then you
tower.
told him, man, I climbed up 100 feet and didn't have to do any of the. You guys take safety very seriously. And then they go, you what?
And then I'm like, wow, I could have died.
Man climbs up 100 feet in the air, realizes after getting in the ground, that could have ended poorly. I tell you, sometimes climbing, because I've rock climbed. I'm not going to say a lot. I climbed a bunch of college, mostly bouldering. I've only climbed outside like once. Do you know what
Hmm.
scares me more than climbing a cliff face?
What's that?
Ladders. I hate
Yeah.
ladders. Absolutely. I would rather climb a 50-foot rock face than climb a ladder because at least with the rock face, it can't fall over. Or if it does, you're not going to be alive long enough to worry about it if the entire cliff falls on top of you.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Like this stupid ladder I climbed, like it's bolted to the side of the thing, but the tank is rusted. Like you could have gotten halfway up and the ladder cracks or something.
So today's episode is sponsored by State Farm Life Insurance.
Yeah, we didn't know quite what to talk about, and I think today is a safety day.
Have respect for yourself out there, kids. Don't climb up 100 feet without being roped off.
Please.
This has been your safety PSA. Or if you do, make sure your significant others have a life insurance policy on your ass that doesn't have a workplace accident disclosure clause. You would hate for your dear significant other to fall and die and then realize that you can't get paid because,
Yeah.
it was laid out that we're not going to cover
Yeah.
workplace accidents and go chase down workers' comp.
I love what I do, but I don't want to die doing it.
Really, I think par for the course if you're a accountant and you're finding yourself in a potentially life-threatening situation, you really, really should be asking questions. Do we need to do this? It's kind of like if you're unless you're doing some real black site shit for the government,
Hmm.
why are the accountants on the front lines? You don't want them there. Their whole goal is to
No.
track the. Do you think that there's any good reason to have them in the field? No, they're just going to startle everyone else. They're going to get surprised and somebody's going to get hurt. They'll do something stupid because they don't know to say, no, I'm not climbing up that.
It's so true because when I did that, that was our first year on that audit. And after that year, we took over and kind of were, in chaos. So we decided on a few things. We'll continue. We'll do what they did last year, because that team was still involved and pressuring us to do that. So the next year, when we actually started asking questions about it, we found out that in the control room on the job site, they have a measure for each tank. Like you can literally just go to the screen and see where it's reading in feet and volume of the tank. So
But Ryan, how do we know that reading is correct?
that actually was a question that we addressed. So
And that's where you tell whoever's asking you that question, you got problems with it, you go climb the fucking tower.
yep.
Man, that
Yeah.
and to think you like, all right, we're doing it. Didn't you wasn't
Yeah.
it you went back the next year and mentioned doing that and they were like, absolutely not. Am I remembering that part correctly where it was the next year when you said, "Hey, yeah, this is what we did last year," and they said, "There's no fucking way you're doing that this year."
On our team, not on the client team.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that was I think the good naturedness of our employer, our boss at that time.
I'm I'm like 90% certain that would probably qualify as a control deficiency operationally. Somewhere there was a safety manager who probably woke up in a
Yep.
cold sweat. Oh man.
Fun times, fun times.
I'm so
Now I
glad.
sit in my home and never leave. So fix that problem.
Whew, now we get black lung through other means of just being indoors too much. It's
Children
not
at preschool is a common. Uh,
children are filthy. Love them dearly, but they are disgusting. That was my
Little
younger
germ.
brothers are finally not really in school anymore,
Yeah.
and it's amazing how much less frequently we've been getting sick.
Oh, I bet, man. Yeah, it's crazy out there. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Anyway, this episode's moral lesson is protect yourselves out there, champs, because no one else is going to do it for you. You have to be the one to say, no, I'm not going to do some crazy, insane shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we were talking what we wanted about what we wanted to kind of talk about before today's episode, and we went, let's do another kind of current events thing, So I've got the Wall Street
Mm-hmm.
Journal pulled up, and we started reading off news articles, and it really there was something. It wasn't the content of the articles themselves that really stood out to me. But, we started laughing. Global bond sell off hits stocks. The turmoil inside Maha is about more than just vaccines. Kraft Heinz is splitting into two companies. Americans lose faith that hard work leads to economic gains. Ocean shipping rates sink as importers balk at trade upheaval. I swear to God, I'm getting depressed just reading these headlines.
It'll do it. It'll
Like
do it.
it is amazing how negative all this shit wasn't it.
Mm-hmm.
We looked at the actual the global bond sell-off hitting stocks. The S&P is down 1%.
Yep.
Holy shit. I tell you, the S&P 500 has never lost 1% before, ever. This is the first time in human history the S&P 500 has dropped up 1% over concerns that were probably priced in the day before.
It's definitely not what it usually moves like every day.
No, this is because there's a global bond sell-off, and it's never mind, it dipped and has been working on recovering as of the last few hours. But man,
Yeah.
it's wild how negative everything is.
It's crazy, man. I mean, it gets me, as it just to go in on the bond and the market example, I mean, it gets me. Like you'll see headlines where it's like, stock market soars today and it's like another 1% or 2%. But you have to click it at that point because you're like, "Oh my God, what is happening right now?" And I mean, it's a huge question generator for me too. I mean, it gets a lot of clients asking questions, especially when other like all the other headlines that you just read are happening in the news, and people are curious. I mean, curious is an understatement, really. People are
Isn't it
fucking.
irritating that part of human nature that sees the negative stuff and we go, "Oh man, 27 people dead in a horrific train accident that crashed into a neighborhood? How did that happen? I have to read now. How did that happen? Oh my God, it was due to negligence. Somebody got decapitated. That's terrible."
Yeah. How did the train get off the track?
Now we got to read a whole lot more. What does it say about human nature that we can't get enough of that shit?
Yeah.
And never mind. I mean, I know I'm predisposed to at times, and I wonder if this is just because part of my day-to-day job is trying to foresee problems before they happen. But I know I'm predisposed to really focusing in on the negative. Something good happens, fine, whatever. Negative, oh man, there's all this bad shit could happen. What does it say about human nature that we love this shit?
Mm-hmm.
That the content that is rewarded by the general population is not really the feel good stuff. It's the terrible, horrific stuff.
Yeah. It's all you can do is laugh at it at this point, I guess. But I don't know, man. I mean, we were talking about it earlier with our own content. It's like the stuff we've posted that's shit posting or like funny stuff in a negative way gets more attention than the actual helpful content. There was a short we posted that was something around like, here's some real advice for people who want to understand their business better, and it was one of our worst performing shorts.
Not one of, the worst.
Yeah,
It was the worst. I think at the time of recording, it's got like 14 views on a short, which is horrific.
Compared to Monty Python's Business Lessons, which has like 1,500 views.
Which I know the grand scheme of, shorts views is not a whole lot, but we are talking about a 100-fold, 100x difference there. I actually had a discussion with a client literally this morning who was talking about their social media stuff. And he was telling me, they would put a ton of time and effort into putting together this really informational content on, the coffee and the stuff that they're doing and trying to sell and all that, and really making sure it looks good and it's really informative and well researched, blah, blah, blah. And they put it out there and no one gave a fuck about it. And then they started shit posting and it took off. So obviously the lesson to learn here is nobody actually cares. No matter what anybody says, it's not about being educational. It's about being funny.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to exclusively record now in 60-second increments.
Just smash a whole bunch of 60-second videos together to
we are going to release it'll be a 1-minute short, and we are going to release over the course of 4 days, one every hour. We will beat the algorithm into submission. But it just, I mean, we go through the same cycles of all this negativity and bullshit. I mean, every time there's an announcement about tariffs, Trump does literally anything, whatever it is. There's going to be a ton of articles about it to get everybody riled up in whatever their ways are. You've got we're not going to get actual political about this stuff. We're going to, as the CPAs, I think we're going to be what they call the dreaded neutrals. But, anytime something happens, take your favorite, news, not even station, but whoever you're looking at, and they've got their particular people, and everybody's, it's like everybody wants us to be sad and depressed about whatever is happening, because that's what apparently people want. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort to sell a whole bunch of negativity, but if you want to sell, positive stuff or informative and all that, it's like you got to put so much more effort into it. It's like, why are we this way? Hell, even what is it? I was looking at Accounting Today, and the first articles, the ones there, employers never paid $2 billion in deferred payroll taxes. Ooh. Macron vows retaliation if Trump's tariffs attack EU digital sovereignty. Zuckerberg pressed Trump on digital taxes before tariff vow. What was another one I saw? CFOs are hiring less accountants. Like, can we get some, like, a little bit of positivity here? I mean, damn.
Well, it reminds me now that you say that. I think it was during like the height of 2020 events and everything, wasn't it? It was like John Krasinski, I think, that started his own little YouTube channel broadcast, and it was centered around positive. It was only positive news. And I think it did pretty well for a while, but I guess it fizzled out at some point. I don't know whatever became of it, but that kind of, summarizes your point.
Yeah, I guess what is it? I wonder, it's got to be like a survival thing from years and, thousands of years of evolutionary pressure, that the focus on negativity and negative things is what, it had to have been what kept people alive. Because everybody always talks about, why don't we have more positivity and stuff? And it's like, well, people don't pay attention to that. They want the clickbait works for a reason. These divisive headlines work for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I have to admit, there's a part where, particularly in the financial space, it's kind of frustrating Now, I'm going to be totally transparent. I'm not on TikTok, probably like I should be to say some of this stuff, but I have seen secondhand enough that, you get the crypto bros got a bad rap for a reason. I mean, because there's a shitload of those finfluencer grifters out there that just take advantage of shit. And it is as actual professionals. I think to say frustrating is kind of underselling it,
Hmm.
but to put time and effort into putting out content that doesn't have the same catchiness as if you invest $1,000 in this shitcoin, it's gonna go 100 times to the moon. You're gonna be able to pay off your house, your wife's boyfriend's house, your parents' house. Everything's gonna be paid off if you put $1,000 into I'm stealing your money coin. Do it before everybody else puts money in and you're left holding the bag. You're like, hey, god damn it, people, why do you keep falling for this? But it just there is an element that I get frustrated. I'm like, we have to maintain professional standards, which sometimes feels almost like it puts us at a disadvantage against random assholes.
It is. I totally agree with that. It was recently too. I was talking to somebody about that, and how there's such ridiculous like bullshit content for finance and money out there, and it's like just like you said, if you do this, this is how you get rich, or this is the one thing the rich do that you can't or they aren't telling you. And it's like you've got all that out there, and then there's actual financial professionals trying to post content as well to help, but it doesn't reach anybody. So I think it's really, not to like soapbox, but I think we really have an obligation as professionals to learn social media better so you can combat that. Like, even if you are posting funny content or like shit posting as an actual professional, it's going to lead somewhere that's positive for people that follow that trail. So, you almost have this obligation to do it, to fight against the people, the bad actors out there who are posting the actual scam content and things like that, Like, am I making sense?
It does. I mean, it really, after you read article after article about how social media is absolutely fucking our mental health in a bunch of various ways, to then sit here and realize, like, we have to get involved almost feels like somebody says, hey, you see that sewer over there? You want to really do client service? Go jump in.
Yeah.
It's like, go start a TikTok. Go put
Everyone's
content
doing
out.
it.
Yeah, they're all doing it. I mean, you've got the rest of the sewer trolls out there that are making their bank stealing things. You want to save people? Well, you're going to have to get in the muck yourself. It's like, fuck, man.
Hmm.
It's hard enough running businesses and doing all this shit and trying to, I'm not even gonna lie and say maintain work-life balance, because I have none. I give you kudos. I think you've got a little bit better than I do. Um,
I try.
it- Usually because you have a crying baby that'll say, "Hey, you need to go do stuff," and you go, "Oh yeah, I need to go do stuff."
Yeah,
But
that'll make you get off the computer real quick.
I tell you, if I suddenly heard a crying baby here, it would absolutely get me off of the computer, mostly because I'd be going, where the hell did this baby come from? How did it get in here? And is this a ghost? I'd be posting a totally different kind of content
Yep.
on the channel of the shaky handheld. I don't know what was going on. I was doing QuickBooks work and I started hearing a baby crying from the other room, and well, now I'm startled.
And now we're moving, so
Which just sucks because it's like, you know what? No, screw that. I'm not leaving this place. We got a nice place here. This is a good setup. All right, ghost baby, we're going to war. I don't know if it's a crime to shoot a ghost baby with rock salt, but I'm gonna go ahead and get an attorney on retainer ahead of time just to make sure my bases are covered.
nope, don't get stubborn. Don't get stubborn. They won't like that.
Oh, I've put enough effort into this place with all the flora and the work that we've done. It could be one of those. It'd be fine. I'm gonna rewatch Supernatural to see what I got to do to deal with ghosts.
You get some Amityville horror type stuff going on up in there.
It's funny you say that because I've always wanted to see the horror movies. I guess it would be more of a spoof. I think Haunted House did it better, um, where you got the like spooky shit in the background, and it's supposed to be the really tense of the moment, and you're like waiting for the ghost to go jumping at the camera and stuff like that, or to
Yeah.
surprise the person. But the person in there goes, "Wait a minute, fuck you, ghost," and they go running at the ghost that's just standing there menacingly. Like, no, no, no. I'm not. You're not haunting me. You want to be in this place? All right, we're gonna see who can out crazy the other. Ooh, you're standing there all menacingly. Like, okay. Well, I've got to change clothes, so if you stay and watch, that makes you the pervert. You think
But
you're
you know, when ghosts can hurt you, but you can't hurt them either, they kind of have an unfair advantage on some of that shit, you know?
Yeah, I'd be complaining to the ref about that one. I'd be like, this ain't cool. I'm like waking up with
Right?
handprints everywhere. Like, what do you? No, 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 no. This ain't right.
Like, what is this?
What is this? The paranormal activity bullshit. No, you better hope your ass doesn't materialize. Otherwise, we're fighting. Bring it on.
Uh,
Although that does, always raise, why is it when you look at a lot of ghost content, it's always ghosts from like 150 or 200 years ago, you know?
yeah,
Now,
yeah,
I am going to say this I am a believer in the paranormal, mostly because, dude, you start reading about science and black holes and
same.
what we can mathematically kind of prove. I go, man, to say that can't exist seems kind of ballsy. I mean, black holes are a thing, and
Yeah.
that's crazy. Space is crazy enough with things that we know for a fact exist, and who knows
Hmm.
what we don't know. But do I think most of the ghost stuff posted online and all that is legit? No.
Absolutely not.
Where's the ghost that's haunting a place where they died about, 8 years ago and they're dancing around to Gangnam Style?
Yeah.
It's always, ooh, it's from 200 years ago and this was a civil war. Like, okay, where's Derek that lived in the apartment for 30 years and
Yeah.
died last week and now he's still showing up because we haven't been able to get his body out of there yet?
It's like there's some time threshold before a ghost can rematerialize after they've died.
There's a cooldown between time of death and when you're allowed to start haunting people again.
Haunting. Yeah. You got to go to training. Even they have fucking operational, occupational training.
Sitting all of them down going, all right, now look, when you're haunting someone, you want to start off small, okay? You want to take your time. That needs a build up. You don't want to come out the gate at the beginning, okay? That's too much. So if you look at page 2 of your ghost haunting handbook, you'll see a list of common household items that you want to get your feet wet and work with those. Salt shakers are great. People will wake up, see salt on the ground, and they're gonna get all spooked. That's great. Get the rocking chair moving a little bit, okay? Now real easy. Not too much, not where it tips over. That's too much in your face, but just a little bit, and then we're gonna ramp it up over time.
You start with the small noises and then you work your way up. You get promoted. Eventually you get to haunt for real, you know?
Yeah, I when I watch because you watch those the ghost series on like Discovery Channel or History Channel or whatever.
Hmm.
Never mind the second separate episode we could do on basically ranting about the decline of the Travel Channel or whatever. That's basically just turned into my new ghost adventure. Like, okay. Some of it are where you
Yeah.
go, cool, that's pretty pretty cool stuff, and then most of it's like, oh, this is moving a little bit, or oh, we heard strange noises. A, it's abandoned, it's probably got rats. B, usually faulty electrical. C, faulty mechanical. Again, I want to see the chair that's hovering 2 feet off the ground for an extended period of time and then gets flung at somebody and it's not a
Yep.
undercover episode of Paranormal Activity. Like that's what I'm looking for. Most of that I think is so not think it's so played up to make content.
Yeah, dude, I used to love those movies. Speaking of, and it's actually really impressive because I think the first one, they had a budget of I think literally $11,000 to make the first Paranormal Activity movie.
And I think that
But
actually, funny enough, I think horror movies usually are the most profitable movies that studios will put out.
yeah, it's like if you can, you got to go through a few to get the good one, but once you get the good one and it hits, you are.
I mean, how many movies could you churn out with a $15,000 budget? If one of them makes $1 million, you could have put out 30 movies
Yeah.
and you've still pretty much doubled your money.
Hmm.
All you need is a house, a camcorder, and then somebody going through serious nicotine withdrawal. Baby, you got yourself a horror movie. Found footage. You don't have to worry about lighting or any of that. I mean, you can make a movie on anything.
Yep.
Just look at the most recent War of the Worlds. Speaking of movies that make me wonder how in the fuck did this get made? Have you seen any of the clips of the latest War of the Worlds with Ice Cube?
No, I've maybe one or two, but I saw a headline that it's like one of the worst reviewed movies ever, and I've just not paid any
So
attention to it past that.
so I want you to bear with me for a moment, okay? We do a lot of video calls, right? Imagine you said to yourself one day, I have a budget of about $50 and I want to make a movie. But I don't want to pay for people to travel. I don't want to pay for actual cameras.
Hmm.
I want to make a movie entirely through Zoom calls.
Ooh, interesting.
Entirely. It's over an hour. I don't know how long it actually is because I haven't actually watched it. I've seen enough clips to see that, wow, it's like bad in that I can't stand watching this way, not bad in that, wow, this is really funny to watch.
Yeah.
It's like that like just genuinely bad where you're kind of like, put it out of my misery. But the whole thing truly is Ice Cube just reacting to shit happening through his computer.
I see. I had no idea. I had no
Yeah.
idea what context it
So
was.
I saw the original trailer and the tagline was, "It's worse than you think."
Oh God.
I tell you, that was true. It is honest to God. Never mind the fact that it basically turns Ice
Uh,
Cube into the worst kind of internet stalker because he could just pull information on anyone about anything.
hmm.
It's one of those where it's I don't know if this is a cautionary tale or if this is what Amazon truly their business model is trying to morph into, where they're working with the CIA where he's able to tap into like his daughter's smart fridge and
Hmm.
remind her to order milk.
Interesting.
Never mind the violation of boundaries that is.
Nope.
Tell you
Yep.
if I got a text from my mom who said, "Hey, I just hacked your fridge. You need to get milk." You're like, "I'm sorry, fucking what?"
Let's just work through that statement one by one.
First off, how'd you get access to my fridge? Second, why is that the takeaway here? And third, how did you get access to my fridge? Honest to God, the whole movie is Ice Cube watching video calls of shit happening or news reports of things that have happened that he is then reacting to, which then made me wonder, how is it that CNN knows what's going on in an alien invasion before the goddamn CIA does?
That's on the job reporting right there.
Truly the epitome of open source research.
And now we're back to our headlines.
Yeah, alien invasion and all that. Now which it does make me wonder. It's one of those where I've been wanting to look up to get kind of nerdy a little bit. When I'm gonna do a search. When can you expense the development costs from a movie? Actually, I need an answer to this right now. like, are you required to publish the movie to recognize those expenses? And that's why they did it?
Interesting. Yeah,
Or is it truly a whatever, we already put effort into making this thing. Let's see if we can get a few buckaroos back.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the threshold might be for movies, but I actually run into that a fair bit for creators because when you're making content, I mean, pretty much any of the production expenses you come across are going to be legit business expenses.
Let's take a look at this one. This is tax notes. This is a summary, blah, blah, blah. Give me. Oh, this is long. I need a TLDR. Okay, that's not going to give me. Let's look somewhere else here. Wow. Okay, so this is one. Generally, production costs are considered capital expenditures because they create a long-term asset, the film or program itself.
Interesting.
Huh. Now, there is a special election as a current year expense. It must be a qualified film, television, or live production. Aggregate cost must not exceed a certain threshold, historically 15 million, and it's subject to recapture if you sell the property, I guess the IP, later sold at a gain.
Mm-hmm.
Um, man, and it requires you to capitalize script development, salary, set design, wardrobe, post productions. Wow, that is wild.
That's really interesting.
So here's examples. I'm assuming that this website is correct. This is filehq.com. I'm going to assume that whoever took the time to put this out onto the internet actually did their research enough because they quoted IRS regs. Production company spends 10 million to produce a qualified independent film. It can elect to deduct the entire 10 million in the year the costs are incurred. Or a major studio produces a blockbuster with a $100 million budget. Because it exceeds the Section 181 limit, studio must capitalize the cost to recover them through depreciation, potentially using the income forecast method or claiming special deduction allowance. Wow, that's wild. So I wonder, just because this is an area of tax law that neither of us really knows a whole lot about, that would explain why a lot of times I'd imagine you'd still want to go ahead. It's the income forecast method.
Yeah, I mean, that makes me think that's the reason a lot of movies don't get scrapped. They go through with it.
Let me see here. Movie production. I want to get like an actual. Here we go. This is the actual. Well, this is the form. But action. Oh, this is the law. Why can't you just take me directly to? Hold on. Let me look up income for. Okay. Interesting. So it doesn't tell me how to do it. Here we go. Here's the tax advisor. Oh, this was updated in July because of the one big beautiful bill. Let me see. I income. Show me. It's got to be one of those. So taxpayer determines its depreciation deduction for production by multiplying the capitalized production costs by a percentage equal to the actual income for the tax year divided by the total projected income for the production, estimated to be generated within 10 years of the production being placed in service. So it uses depreciating production cost required to apply the look-back method, which requires the taxpayer to pay or receive increase. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here's our answer. So why do movie studios still release dog shit movies? And it is, now we have a direct answer for being able to say it is for tax purposes. But instead of what they say online of, well, it's for tax purposes, this is exactly why they do it for tax purposes. Basically, they have to estimate how much revenue are they going to generate off of this production over the next 10 years. And then the percentage that is recognized. So if you say that over the next 10 years it's going to generate, you spent, let's say, 100 million on this production, and we say that it's going to generate 200 million in revenue over the next 10 years. But we know most of that is going to be concentrated in, say, the first year, and it generates 100 million in revenue. That means that you could then, I'm assuming this is just as a, I'm assuming there's other bullshit, but basically what they're saying, if you recognize half of that cost in the year that you got that money. It's basically the almost the percent complete method that you use in construction contracting, which is how far through the costs are we that we recognize revenue. It's almost the inverse of that, which is how much of our revenue have we received, and now we're going to recognize that cost. So if you think that you're going to have a movie that's going to do absolute dog shit over the next 10 years, a la War of the Worlds, and you're sitting there going, Jesus Christ, we spent $30 million on this thing. Ice Cube got a hell of a payday. Well, if we think it's only going to pull in $300,000 over the next 10 years, and $250K of that's going to be in its first year, you release it so you can actually take that expense on the books. Otherwise, you've got this indeterminate, long-lived asset.
Yep.
Fascinating. So that's why I think we need to do a separate clip of that so that it can go on a YouTube short of why you actually release dog shit movies.
You learn something new every day.
Why do studios release dog shit movies? Because ultimately their expense recognition is a proportion of the revenue that they're going to be receiving over the life of it. Record 100% of the revenue in that year, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. I just learned something new. Now, everybody that listens to this now understands why do we release terrible movies. Which then really makes it wild to consider a movie canceled halfway through. You know, there's got to be, I'm assuming there's something in here. This is where both of us as not tax CPAs are a little bit out of our element. But I imagine there's got to be something where if it's abandonment halfway through, you've got to be able to take like a development loss on it. Although, knowing the tax code, I wouldn't be surprised if there was whatever, you still have a default 5 or 10 year recognition period. You don't get to just write all that off immediately. Otherwise, why would you release it in the first place?
Yeah. Interesting.
Because I'd imagine releasing has got to have its own set of costs. It's got to actually cost money to go through the release. I guess that's why I'd imagine why they'd actually canceled something like, what was it, Batgirl? I think that got canceled before they released it.
Honestly, I can't name a movie that I know of that's been canceled before they released it.
Really glad you didn't stop that sentence at, I can't name a movie. This is where I'm going to find out that you are not a cinephile.
I try.
Yeah.
Not quite to the level of some people, but I've seen a movie or two.
Oh, look at you bragging, even that somebody's seen a movie.
Yeah, or two.
Yeah, what was the last movie you... Oh, yeah, you've seen a movie. Name the last movie you saw.
Ooh, what was the last movie I saw?
I knew it, he's lying.
Oh, yeah, not this weekend, last weekend, we went to, they re-released the Harry Potter movies in theaters. So we went to see Goblet of Fire was the one that worked for us on the time. So
did they just do a release of all 7 of them and we're like, here you go, it's a marathon?
Yeah.
I guess J.K. Rowling needs more money.
Yeah, it's like the 25th anniversary of it. So, I mean, use whatever occasion you can to take the cash, baby.
Man, I wish I could just re-release the same shit over and over and get paid over and over. It's a beautiful business model.
The 25th anniversary of this podcast, maybe we will re-release some of our old content,
In theater. It'll be released in theater.
on the big screen.
What they will we'll swap out all of the footage for all of the actual shown movies at one theater in one random ass part of the country, and everyone that gets their tickets can be like, "Why is this not Superman 27? Who were these assholes?" I will say, from a financial standpoint, a company that I admire greatly because they truly have figured out the art of selling the same thing over and over and over and over again is Bethesda.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I have bought Skyrim like 3 or 4 fucking times. Todd Howard gets me again. Damn it. And then they went, "You know what? You guys like Skyrim. What about Oblivion? Release that one." Yeah, we remastered it and all that. We kept all the same bugs in. But we released that again because we know you assholes are going to buy it again. Sure enough.
Remaster that's very true to the original.
I truly, their ability, it shows the power of personality that they can release the same game over and over and over again for over a goddamn decade, and it still sells like crazy every time they do a new release.
That is almost the entirety of Nintendo's playbook at this point.
Technically, they are releasing new games. Not a whole lot of innovation, but I mean, the new Pokemon games are technically new. I mean, it's not the same. It's not as egregious as Skyrim.
Yeah. Hey, well, now you've got what on the Switch 2, the Switch 2 upgrade packs for the old games, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, all that fun stuff.
Man, truly, we must be in end stage capitalism. Because even our games aren't innovating anymore. They're just like, "Hey, you remember that thing you bought a while ago? Fucking buy it again." Yeah, we upgraded it a little. Buy it again, full price. It's Nintendo. You know you're going to. We've seen how you buy our Pokemon cards. You're going to buy our shit.
Than we sold it to you before.
Oh, the going price now is $70 for a new game. What do you think we're going to do? Go below market rates? You know you're going to buy Tears of the Kingdom remastered and Breath of the Wild remastered for $70. In fact, we'll do you one better, and we will do the remastered of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and this one for the low price of $150.
Yeah. I mean, we can't sell it for any less. Do you want us to go out of business? Then we can't remake the same games again.
We're just a little indie dev studio. Like we need all of this money because we have to pay for all the people that we have on payroll that aren't actually improving our games.
It's like just Nintendo standing there with a little tin cup, like, "Penny for your thoughts, sir."
Meanwhile, they've got nicer clothes than everybody else on the street. You're like, "Wait a minute. What? No, I'm not getting. Damn it! I'm gonna give me the remaster." That's why I'm so.
Just like the headlines, I can't not play this game that I love again.
Like, we here at Nintendo have been hard at work at truly putting dollars to nostalgia, and that is why our newest release of A Link to the Past will cost your kidney. Because we can turn around and sell those on the black market for about $900. So if you want the remastered Link to the Past, did we say It's the same thing. It runs on a fucking emulator. It's the same thing, but you're gonna pay us $150 for it because we know you're gonna do it. Truly, at what point do you have such a strong following that you can almost emotionally abuse your customers and they will keep buying the same thing over and over? Like,
just Stockholm syndrome at this point.
Like, at what point does the relationship with the Nintendo products qualify as grooming? like at one point are you like, this is kind of an unhealthy relationship, and you keep getting people to buy the same shit over and over. You're not even you're knocking down all the fan-made games to continue selling your shit over. Like, at what point does this qualify as you initially got them hooked at 6 and now they're 30? That is almost textbook grooming. We're gonna definitely
It's a
clip.
crazy, crazy world.
We're gonna clip this one for the YouTube Shorts.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit. Um. Anyway, we were originally talking about negativity in the news, but I think this is just negativity in how people treat their customers.
Customers, marketing, news, all the
Negativity
above.
sells. Everyone listening needs to stop being. I mean, it's so simple. Just stop being so focused on negativity. Just fight your basis
Just do
instinct
it.
to consume that content and be better. We all need to be better. Stop consuming the negativity, and then they won't sell it.
There you go. Life
Except
lessons.
Bethesda will continue to sell Skyrim. They will continue to sell Skyrim over and over and over again. There are four things in life that are fundamentally true. There is always death until you respawn as a ghost. There will always be taxes, no matter what anybody says. And they will always re-release Skyrim, and Nintendo will always shut down fan projects. The four fundamentals of the universe. Anyway, that's
Love
all
it.
I got. I'll let you since you got out of doing the intro and you've been able to hide the coughing, and I'm gonna let you do the outro here. You've had a good warm up. Yeah, that's right. Springing it on you, just like a new Skyrim release.
That's how you get them right there. But
You think you're getting a new game? Surprise! It was Skyrim.
woo. And I'm still happy about it too. So
It's fucked
you
up.
know, things never change. But yeah, if as always, if you've listened this far, we really appreciate you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. If there's any questions that you guys have, drop them in the comments. We always appreciate that. And I think there's even a few questions people have left for us that we use for future episodes too. So
Oh yeah, totally. I mean,
that's the good stuff.
imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. I mean, we are trying to
Exactly.
turn this into more of a community type thing, not just us
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about shit. I mean, ultimately, we do think that there is too much negativity and too much bullshit out there, and we are trying to do our part here to combat that just a little bit. So, we're gonna have to up our shit post game so that we can fight all that. But I guess if we're gonna become real YouTubers, that means we have to end each video with a "Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe."
Just a reminder. It does help us. And,
Yeah.
honestly, on that too, if you have listened this far, you are our people, and we want to hear from you on this stuff. So, like you mentioned, Connor, I mean, we are thinking about some sort of community aspect to the podcast. And, I look at it as negativity on the internet. Like if you got a question about your business or about your job, about your future entrepreneurial dreams, and you go and post it on Reddit, let's say, you might get some good answers on there. You're definitely going to get some answers that are probably going to make you contemplate life and a few other parts of it.
You also could get answers from people who sound really authoritative, and then you find out behind the scenes is an unemployed 16-year-old who just pretends to be a business owner.
Just completely wrong.
Yeah.
So, while you can get some good answers out there, an aspect to this like that, I think could be really helpful. So, let us know if that's something you would like. And I think specifically to what form it might come in. Cause I know we're mulling over a few different ideas, but, any direction is always helpful. So I think past that, like you said, man, just stay positive out there. I think that's really all I could take away from this episode. And, what I tell clients when we're reading all the negative shit in the news, like, honestly, just ignore it. If you've got a good plan out there, none of the news really matters at this point. So take that for what it's worth. But I don't know. Do you have any follow-up or any takeaways, any learning lessons from this episode for our good listeners?
Make sure to keep your movie production costs at 15 million or less so you can expense it as it's incurred instead of having to capitalize.
Boom.
That's my advice. Keep your budgets under 15 mil. You can write it all off, and then you don't have to release something like War of the Worlds.
Oh God.
But no, you said it, and yeah, that's all I've got.
Well, at that, I think is where we leave you. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you on the next one.